Hi, I'm RTGS. I'm with Synopsys for a long time because I was part of starting it, and today I'm co-CEO of the company. I help make the decisions of what we do, where we're going to go, who's doing what, and so on. And most importantly, I talk a lot to our customers to make sure that they're happy with our work.
I'm Steve McDonald, and I'm co-general manager of the SIG business unit at Synopsys, and we're responsible for making the world safer by providing more secure software for everybody in the world.
My name is Jim Ivers. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for the Software Integrity Group of Synopsys. I'm in charge of everything that you would expect from a regular marketing group, as well as product marketing and product management.
My name is Andreas Kuhlmann. I'm the co-general manager of the Software Integrity Group. I've been with Synopsys now a little bit more than 5 years and came really to Synopsys through the Coverity acquisition.
Synopsys does a lot of things. And where we started was to create software that helps design chips. Do you know what a chip is? A chip is the little electronic piece that's inside of your phone, inside of your camera, inside of the TV, and so on. It does all the computation that makes things work. And these chips are unbelievably complicated. They have a lot of on-off switches called transistors, and they can be not hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, but millions to billions. And our software helps connect all of these things just right so that the chip actually works.
Well, Synopsys, the broad company, has built its reputation on helping people build and design and simulate the construction of microchips. The Software Integrity Group was added as an extension of that to work on software security and quality. So the attack surface for people getting into and trying to steal data has changed from endpoint computers to software as we extended software out to the internet. So what we do is help people test their software to make sure that there are no vulnerabilities that people can exploit, so they can go in and steal data or personal information, and eventually, of course, end up, many cases, finding money behind that process.
What we are all about in the Software Integrity Group is how do we help our customers and developers to develop software in a secure manner, to develop software in high quality, and do it in an efficient and fast manner.
We spent a lot of time when we built our focus areas this year, and really we chose customer-centric and employee-centric. And for me, employee is more than just doing the things for the employees. It's more about how do you engage, what do you believe in, how do you feel about the organization you work in. And I've always felt much better if I feel like the organization is contributing back to the community. I mean, at the end of the day, business is about numbers and it's about our success. But if you can do it in an environment where you really feel good about the people that you work with and the things that you do with them, then it just becomes much more of a place to work that you feel good about. Today what we're doing is we're actually building beds for the community, for people that basically haven't had beds before, folks that are coming out of homelessness, and it's a community thing that's sponsored by Synopsys, and we are all very excited to be out here. I think it gives you a kind of a good warm feeling to get out and do something good for the community. We've been working on community projects ever since I've been with the company. I've been here 17 years, and we have something every year in each of the different office locations. Sometimes it's working in a school, bringing the school up to code. Sometimes it's actually working with something like this, where we're working on projects to help directly in the community. And within our own business unit, within SIG, we are very much about both customer and employee. And one of the great things about doing something like this is it's just a really great way to get to know the people in your organization way better. Working in an environment like this is where you really get to contribute something. It's got a really good feeling about it, and everybody, I think, just comes out of it feeling great at the end of the day.
Synopsys is a great company, and it's been around for 30 years, and part of building a great company is also having a social conscience. And so things like this Volunteer Day is really important to the heart and soul of the company, because we like to give back to not just in a broader sense, but directly into the various places where we're based. And we have offices all around the world, so we like to do something very local and something that's focused that gives back to the local community.
One of the things that we always think about when we are at Synopsys is we are so unbelievably fortunate, have great jobs, have interesting challenges, are being paid, survive very well. And yet around us, the world is full of situations that are much less positive. And so within the means and the time that we have, We try to engage in the community wherever it makes impact, where we can help a little bit. And I'm proud to say that in our history, every location of Synopsys has adopted some great causes. And the result has been that every other working day, somewhere in Synopsys world, there's a community event. It's something to be proud of, and of course there's never enough of it, but it characterizes our heart and soul. It makes the company more than just sort of an economic entity and a place to work. It makes the company a place where we recognize that we benefit from the community that we are part of, and therefore, because we have the means, because we have the times, because we have the brains, we should give back to that, and that's what we do.
I'm Caroline McCann, and I work here at Synopsys in HR. I actually do recruiting and run the intern program. So I do university relations, hire the interns, work with them throughout the summer and their time here. So today we did the Guppy Tank, so it's a smaller version of Shark Tank TV show. So the students at the school each had a pitch that they had to make to our sharks. So they worked with the volunteers throughout the day to kind of help coach them into working on their presentation, so that at the end of the day they could present what they wanted for a fitness app. It was really just the only parameters, so they could take it and run with it in any direction that they wanted. Some were much more exercise focused, some were nutritional focused, some had incentives, some was more about the posting and the sharing, and it was just cool to see all of their minds take off and then also kind of come to see it in fruition at the end of the day.
I have a question. It sounds like your idea is that having friends involved is going to help you work out more. Is that right? Yeah, that's a great idea. How'd you come up with that? Is that what you experienced with your friends, that when you do stuff together, you tend to get out and do it more?
Yeah. And because like when people compete, they most people, they want to win. So if they're competing, if they start to win, both of them start to win, they'll keep getting better.
Today was mostly about helping or making an app that will help people who want to become fit and healthy.
I've always wanted to invent something. Anything, even if it was the newest couch I could invent. I'd always wanted to invent something. Our app is called Fit Tracker.
Yeah, Fit Tracker. I mean, it feels good because we really are the future, because we think of interesting ways to help the world become better.
When they call me the future, I feel like I can be anything I want, because in the future, you could be anything. Like you could be
a police officer.
Anything. And I want to be a teacher and entrepreneur as I grow up. And being called the future helps me know that I can do that and help the world.
And motivates me to do more than what I limit myself to do.
I think having the Guppy Tank volunteer today is a fantastic example where we need to look at the next generation. I mean, I remember when I was young, I was more into electronics. Software wasn't really that great, but I got a lot of support helping me develop my skills and being really fascinated about electronics. That really led to my career. I hope we do the same thing for the children here today, of the young adults, to help them really build a career that's meaningful for them.
You know, I'm being interviewed here by Dante, and he just brought up the printing press, which just so happens to be one of my favorite topics. I used it yesterday in a major speech, because it's an example of the fusion of multiple technologies. The ability to find an alphabet that has only 26 letters, to cast that alphabet in little mechanical pieces that you can reuse and therefore create sort of printing frames. The ability to have ink that dries fast enough, paper that survives, and then a press that brings it all together. And around 1450, suddenly out of nowhere comes the printing of books. The impact of that has been enormous. Enormous because in a 50-year period, 20 million books were printed, and suddenly information and insights and knowledge started to be distributed. And now we move 500 plus years forward, and we find that the electronic version of books are chips. They contain the ability to reason, to make information available. They power the internet, which makes all of us at least a little bit knowledgeable, because we can type in Google or some other search engine and find out stuff about any topic of interest, and it has changed already the world. Well, Synopsys has been at the center of that second wave, not of course the 1400s, but the ones that drove electronics and digital logic forward. Well, we're again at the center of this, because now there's another wave coming, which is artificial intelligence and machine learning. And yes, it's going to take a long time before these machines are as good as a human brain, But for certain tasks, already, they're astoundingly good. And this is due to all the electronics and the software that's being brought together, fused together, so to speak, to mimic pieces of the brain. In the next 2 decades, we're going to see just remarkable advances. And Synopsys is in the lucky position that we touch all the people that are making these advances possible. So from the printing press 500 years ago to now the printing of electronics, all the way to learning from books, now learning from the internet, and even the internet learning itself is the advance that we happen to be privileged to be part of.
Software is fundamentally changing the way the world works. I think we're always saying every company is now a software company, whether they know this or not, but software is really fundamentally impacting our life. And I think we have plenty of examples, whether it's a security breach, privacy breaches, or just being frustrated about software that doesn't work. And I think that is a really key element of what we do.
I have always been somebody that really likes to build, whether it be, Meccano sets or Airfix kits. We used to make model planes when I was a kid. I've always had that kind of desire to build. And in the times that I've been at Synopsys for 17 years, I've actually had many opportunities to take things from the ground zero and really build them into something that you could look back on and be very proud of. And that's really why I do what I do. It's the journey as well as the finished product. So right now we're in the middle of a journey, and I am thoroughly enjoying it.
My life has been impacted, among many other things, also by the starting of Synopsys, which then took its own destiny in hand. And the reason that was possible is because from early on, all the way to today, we have extraordinary people working together on really fabulous problems and high impact. And so my first message maybe to you is, no matter what, always look who you're surrounded by. Choose the people you want to be surrounded by who you wish you were. There's so much to be learned. And actually, now a little further in my career, one of the things that I'm trying to push within Synopsys is this notion of a mindset that is a yes-if mindset, in contrast to a no-because. And the if part and the because part can be very much the same. But there's a big difference if you approach life with a yes attitude versus a no attitude. No closes doors. Yes just opens opportunities. And yes also engages others. But most importantly, yourself. Who is the most difficult person to convince to do something? Yourself. If you move, others will move as well. If you embrace responsibility and opportunity of the future, others will be there with you, because there are many people that can do this, many people that can make an impact. And so reflecting on Synopsys, we call that vitality. Vitality is not just surviving, it's actually thriving. It is setting ambitions for the future, driving things that seem maybe impossible until they turn out to be possible, and most importantly, having a positive impact on others, on the community, on the whole world, and ultimately also about yourself. So surround yourself with people that have that attitude, and you too will move forward better and faster, because there's so much to learn from others.